Hello and welcome back to Big Mouth and welcome to Thursday's edition of the dceu Daily. Merry Christmas Eve to you all. I want to assure you I'm going to be one of the few YouTubers here for you all at Christmas, because Christmas can be a lonely time. It's only me and my dad this year. Family's in the UK. COVID's put a block to a proper Christmas, so I'm going to be here for you. Christmas Day, I will have my normal edition of the dceu Daily. I'm going to try and wear one of those Christmas hats and be really festive. New Year's Eve, we will do the review of the year for DC. We're not going to be talking about COVID and all the horrible, shitty things that have happened. We're going to talk about DC fandom. We're going to talk about how we finally got the announcement that the Snyder Cut, Zack Snyder's Justice League, is going to be streaming next year. A beautiful year if you're a DC fan. But for today, we are going to discuss the inevitable possibility and potential of a DC Extended Universe and Marvel Studios crossover. In fact, James Gunn was answering fan questions. I'm loving James Gunn right now, by the way. And he was asked, what DCEU MCU crossover would you love? He said King Shark, Groot, and many more. With James Gunn doing The Suicide Squad and Guardians of the Galaxy 3, he is pivotally placed to do the first crossover. And I think there's so much potential and excitement about that. Now, me, you, and everyone else mock the MCU. And the MCU, mock the DCEU. But we are geeks. We are nerds. And there's nothing more that we would love than the DC Extended Universe and Marvel Studios crossover. It's something that I would love. If that gets me mocked and hated and unsubbed from, I couldn't give a shit. It's my channel. I can think and want what I want, right? So let's talk about that. I can tell you right here and right now, these discussions have been taking place between Warner Brothers and Disney and Marvel Studios for a very long time. But with Jim Lee being the head honcho of DC now, and Kevin Feige having this great close relationship, they are very close, they know each other very well, discussions are heating up. And I can also tell you this is one of the pivotal reasons both studios have embraced a multiverse strategy. Close your eyes for a minute. Close your eyes. Use your imagination. Imagine on one of the Earths on the multiverse, both in Marvel and the DC Extended Universe, where Marvel characters and DC characters live together. Whatever Earth that is, right? Imagine there could even be a superhero team mixed up with the Avengers and the Justice League. Hulk and Doomsday could work together. Who knows? Hulk and Superman. Batman and Tony Stark. Wouldn't that be a beautiful thing? I think it could be. I think it could work. So already with these multiverse strategies from both companies, this could be a really exciting thing. And I think it's going to happen in the next few years. Now, James Gunn coming over to DC and working for the MCU literally at the same time. This breaks big barriers. Now, I listen and watch James Gunn a lot. And one of the things he always talks about, he hates this bitter rivalry. Now, I've always said it's a bit like supporting Man United and Liverpool, if you know who Man United and Liverpool are. For you Americans, they're sucker teams. We despise each other. But I can't help, as a Manchester United supporter, but respect the job that Jurgen Klopp and his board are doing. And I wish I could have a situation at my club. It looks like we're at least heading to a better situation. So, as a DC fan, I have this rivalry with Marvel fans. For me, I don't take it too deeply and I don't get too dark and there's not deep cuts for it. But I know even the hardcore DC and Marvel fans would love nothing more than a live action crossover. And I'm telling you right here, right now, today, it's going to happen. When it's going to happen, I don't know. Listen, we've had so many MCU movies and we've had quite a few DC movies, and we can throw in the Joker movie in there as well. So we've come to a place where they've done so much. The next evolution of both these companies' movies and plan is for a DCEU MCU crossover. I would love nothing more, because this is what the exciting thing is about both companies having a multiverse strategy. Don't you think it's a bit of a coincidence that both Marvel and DC are opening up the walls of the multiverse? Don't you think that's a coincidence? That's what I would do. If I was in charge of one of these studios, and basically, let's say there's Kevin Feige, and let's say me and Jim Lee are working with DC, because someone said to me the other day, Jim Lee's not in charge of DC films, it's Walter Hamada. That is correct. But Jim Lee is the ultimate head honcho, which means he's in charge of everything. Of course, he has department heads like Walter. But if he comes in and says, I want to do this, then you're going to do this. And if you don't like it, fuck off. That's how it works, right? So Jim Lee is now the head honcho. He's in charge. And how I would do it is how I explained earlier. I would literally say, right, we're in the multiverse, right? There is an Earth somewhere where Marvel characters and DC characters exist, where DC characters can name drop Marvel characters and Marvel characters can name drop DC characters. Some of them may be having relationships. You know, Gamora may be having a relationship, I don't know, with Hal Jordan or something silly like that. I'm just picking things. Anything's possible on this one Earth where MCU characters and DCEU characters live together, right? So this is an Earth separate to all the other Earths. That's what the multiverse is all about. This is the potential it gives you. So I would start that Earth with these characters being together and a super hero team, you know, mixed with Marvel and DC characters fighting supervillains together. So that would be so awesome, so brilliant to be able to have Tony Stark and Bruce Wayne maybe be friends. Captain America and Superman being friends. How amazing would that be on this Earth? You know, Chris Evans and Henry Cavill, Superman and Captain America, are friends and they fight together. And they sit in a cafe together and they have cups of coffee and they talk about their lives and everything else. How amazing would that be? And this is the kind of thing I'm talking about. This is what I keep on telling you people. People do not want self-contained universes. It's the secret of Marvel Studios' success. And it's what was denied to us DC fans, when Zack Snyder was driven off the property, because he was planning a connective DC universe. As we saw from Man of Steel to BVS to Suicide Squad. Because whether you like that kind of studio-interfered Suicide Squad movie, edited by that, music video company, it's still an okay movie and you still get Batman and the Flash in it. So those crossovers were going to keep on coming. We would have had more of it if Zack stuck around for Wonder Woman, and it would have gone on to Aquaman as well. But when Zack was driven away, they decided to do self-contained movies. No, that's not what Zack's plan was. It was going to be more shared, which would have given it more of a success, because people love crossovers. Whether people liked what Zack was doing or not, it's always exciting to have crossovers. And that was the plan. And then we were going to go into 2 or 3 Justice League movies. Crossovers galore. And straight away with Jim Lee's multiverse strategy, you've got the potential of crossovers upon crossovers. So it's really exciting to be a DC and MCU fan now, that where you can have, Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man mixed with Tom Holland's Spider-Man, that you can have, Ezra Miller's The Flash meet Michael Keaton's Batman. We're all pumped for that, and the potential of Nick Cage's Superman is so ever so exciting. But what could be even bigger than that, than an MCU-DCEU crossover? Or this separate Earth that I would do, where all these characters live on the same Earth together. Dr. Doom could be hatching a plan with Lex Luthor. How amazing would that be? These are all very, very exciting things potentially. And, it's going to happen. They're always talking about it. They've been talking about it for years. But now with these multiverse strategies at both companies, it's a very exciting time, and this will happen. And I think James Gunn would be the right person to do this. I really do. He's loved by both sides of the fandom. Not everyone. Some DC fans have issues. For example, Jared Leto's Joker not being in the Suicide Squad is a bone of contention for fans of the Snyderverse. It is a bit with me, but the guy has every right to make his creative decisions. You all keep bitching about, directors' freedom, artists having freedom. Well, it's not just what suits us. So that it's right that he gets to make his own decisions and decides who's in his own movie. And I'm fine with that. I think he would be perfect for the first DC Marvel crossover. It would be amazing. And I would be so down for it. But I want you to comment down below and let me know what you think. For me, it will be the most epic, exciting, and the next step of the evolution of both these companies embracing these multiverse strategies. Remember, you can tag me and follow me on Twitter at MoviesTVMad, showing me some fan art, asking me questions I can answer, and, just making suggestions for videos, and I'll always shout you out. Just like Scott Edwards has done again, at MoviesTVMad. Here's some cool pictures of the Anti-Monitor from Crisis on Infinite Earths. I thought he was a pretty cool bad guy, and the final fights between him and the heroes was pretty fun to watch. What about you? Yeah, he was a brilliant villain, and the actor is absolutely sensational in both roles. He's amazing. And here's the artwork. Pretty cool, right? Yeah, absolutely awesome, Scott Edwards. Thank you for sending me that. What else has Scott got for us today? Right, at Movies TV Mad, you should talk about the moment from Crisis on Infinite Earths on tomorrow's DCEU Daily. It was a beautiful moment between Kara and Clark. So this is it. This is the moment. If I can zoom in and try and read what's here so we can discuss it. We have made our parents proud by fighting for what's right. So we have to keep fighting and us that spirit is alive. Yeah, Krypton will never die. As long as we do, Krypton will never die. It's a great moment. It really is a great moment. I love Supergirl and Superman getting screen time. I love it when they're together in the comics. I really think it's cool. So yeah, it's a beautiful moment, a very emotional moment. And hopefully with Superman and Lois coming, we get a lot more of those Supergirl and Superman moments. And Scott Edwards has got something else for me finally today. At Movies TV Mad, an official new poster for Batwoman Season 2. I really like Ryan Wilder's suit. What about you? So here it is. Yes, big new poster. She looks fucking awesome, doesn't she? She's got her fists ready. She's definitely going to be a more, let's just say, no pun intended, of course, a darker toned character. And I'm not talking about ethnicity. I'm talking about her tone of character. This is a Batwoman who will kill people, who will be rough. So a lot of people might not actually, I don't know, this is going to be a Batfleck moment again, isn't it? Because if she's killing people, it could be one of those moments. Because Oliver Queen was doing the same thing in Arrow Season 1, which I was fine with. Again, people, oh, now he doesn't kill, blah, blah, blah. Very boring conversations. If the creative wants a superhero to kill, as long as it's not Superman, by the way, I'm fine with the Zod thing because basically he had no choice in that moment. But you don't want Superman being a cold-blooded killer, right? And obviously in the Nightmare sequence, he does kill some people. But again, he's under Darkseid's will. He's under Darkseid's control. So it's a very different situation. So yeah, a great poster, Scott. Really looking forward to Batwoman. And I'll be watching it and hopefully reacting to every episode of the Season 2 of Batwoman here on Big Mouth. And finally today, these fuck buckets keep on trying to pile the pressure on Warner Media for smashing the release window starting from tomorrow with Wonder Woman 84, both streaming on HBO Max and showing in theatres where possible, and this is their release plan for next year. So the Sony CEO came out and said this yesterday, that multiple directors and actors have told them they'd rather work with them at Sony than Warner Media because of them breaking the release window. Multiple? You mean 3 directors and 3 actors? Oh my God, terrible. And so this is my reaction to this. You butthurt cronies can do what you want. You can go to Sony, get ready to direct and star in lots of Spider-Man movies, because what else has Sony actually got? You see, Warner Media know they're in a very strong position with this. They knew exactly what was going to happen when they broke the release window. They knew it. They knew the heat they were going to get, and they're happy for it. In fact, yesterday, Warner Media announced several films to be released in 2023 theatrically. So it's obvious they're not going to be doing this forever. This was the right decision. And if you're a logical person, right, with any intelligence, you understand they had no choice. They need to release these movies. They need to be on streaming as well as releasing in theatres where open and possible. It's a logical decision. And the reaction to this is pathetic. But let's just say that 70% of creatives and actors and directors decide not to work with Warner Media, which is never going to happen. All Jason Keeler and Ann Sarnoff have to do is raid film schools for new creatives, right? This is what happened in the 70s with George Lucas and, Francis Ford Coppola and many more people. These studios were literally going to film schools and giving these people, the best students of film schools, the opportunity to make movies for these huge studios. So it's nothing new. So this is not a big deal. This doesn't stop anything. If you're really that fickle and stupid not to want to work with Warner Media, one of the only studios right now that gives their creatives freedom to do what they want, to write what they want, to direct what they want. Of course, they have an opinion on what you're doing, and they're going to tell you if they're worried if the audience are going to like it or not, because that's important to a studio, and it should be important to a director. They shouldn't be saying, I'm going to do what I want and I don't care who doesn't like it. That's dumb. If we're going to do that, we might as well just do fan fiction, right? It's stupid. At the end of the day, you are making things not just for yourself as a director and an artist, but for your audience. Because if you're just making it for yourself, you might as well just watch it on your own, right? And what studio wants to burn money like that? And so, for me, it's really, really funny. I don't know if there's truth in this or not. There must be some truth in it. But really, it just goes to show. Now, apparently, I've been told that Sony have no plans for streaming. If this is true, then they're going to go bankrupt. They're going to end up in the same trouble as MGM. Yes, MGM is now for sale, and Netflix are the favourites to buy this iconic studio. Now, Variety and The Hollywood Reporter, one of them was trying to blame the leadership of MGM for this sale taking place. It's not that. We live in an industry now that the audience are only interested in light shows, which is sad for me. I grew up in an era where I could go to HMV and buy 5 or 6 different films from 5 or 6 different genres. Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, Casualties of War, Born on the 4th of July, JFK, so many different movies. I wish there was Twitter back then. The movie Twitter conversations we would have had back then are more interesting than today. So I can't wait to see these butthurt individuals like Patty Jenkins and Christopher Nolan kicking their legs up in the sky when James Bond is owned by Netflix and he'll never be in a movie theatre again. How fucking hilarious is that? So, no. As a Warner Media stan, as a Warner Brothers fan, because I'm a DC fan and they own those properties, and I believe Jason Keeler and Ann Sarnoff have been brilliant to us fans, and they really admire and respect customer service. They want to give their customers, a full bang for their buck, which is not the normal attitude in Hollywood. We saw what happened with The Last Jedi, slaughtering fans, telling us it's their way or get lost. That's not how a public business should be run. When you're making things for the public, for your customer, I'm not saying we should get totally 100% our way, because that's dumb. And so when I hear the Sony CEO kind of going down this direction, well, we're not going to embrace streaming. We've already heard Kevin Feige say that streaming is the future. But listen, no studio is going to abandon totally the theatrical model. Once COVID is over, hopefully, people will return to movie theatres. And Warner Media will be happy to go back to that system. Why wouldn't they? It makes the most money for them. It makes the most sense. But right now, they can't do that. And anyone in denial that this is the wrong decision or they're not going to do it as a company. They will go bankrupt. We could be in this situation for 2 years. And the problem is the UK and America, where Hollywood is based, they're not going to come out of this COVID situation for ages. Other countries like New Zealand, Australia, Sweden, Norway, they'll come out of it at some point next year. But the UK and America have handled it so badly that their businesses and countries will still be languishing this time next year. And that's the problem. And that's why Warner Media made this right, logical decision. So I'm not worried about what the Sony CEO said. It's a load of balls. It's a load of nonsense. Warner Media stand by their decision. I hope they don't go back on it. I don't want them to bend the knee, because these people need to be taught a lesson. This is an industry for us, made for us, and executed for us. We're the ones who keep the excitement going all day on the internet, responding to all the news and gossip and everything, and having channels like this. Without us, you don't have anything. And right now, because of COVID, we want these films released, not shelved for 2 fucking years. So at the end of the day, Sony and all these little butthurt salty directors, keep on talking. Nobody cares. Comment down below. Like, share and subscribe, and I'll be back tomorrow on Christmas Day to share Christmas Day with you with more DCEU Daily. See you again soon.